at primary school. 2. Kafumbwe at Rural Health Center. Primary School. 4. Kaitula at Kaitula Secondary School. Currently, government is working with a private mobile network operator. Government working with a private mobile operator has commenced the construction of a tower at Kaitula Secondary School in Kaitula Ward in Milanzi constituency. Once the physical space, the other 3 areas will be prioritized. In B, as stated in A of the response, the construction of towers in Milanzi Parliamentary constituency is already being implemented. And C, given the response above, part C of the question automatically attached.
Minister for in 2023 and assured the people of Milanzi would soon start construction of Honorable Minister, there is nothing on the ground. How far have you gone in implementing? Because there's nothing on the ground. Further to that, Honorable Minister, we would want to know, when do you implement, or should I say that when do the other 3 hours as you have indicated? Thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Technology and Science.
Speaker, and thank you for that follow-up question. As of this morning, I was informed that the private sector company is on the ground beginning the construction of the tower. I shall check that together with the Member of Parliament of Milanzi. I thank you.
This question was quite specific. I'll allow 2 members. Honorable Member for Nyimba.
Thank you, Madam Mr. Speaker. Minister, the questions for the towers has been there for, I think, since we started this session in 2021. We've been asking for towers across this country, and we've seen a good number of constituencies across this country being, given the towers, and towers are being constructed. If you look particularly at Milanzi and Nyimba, there have been a problem in construction of towers. Some of the areas, when we submit them, Minister, to you, they cover 3 constituencies. They might cover Nyimba, Lusangazi, and Petauke at the same time, not just for one constituency. So my question to you, Mr. Speaker, Minister, through you, Mr. Speaker, what is it? Is there a problem that the towers we've been asking for since 2021 to date between Milanzi and the Nyimba constituencies?
The question is about Milanzi.
Yes, Mr. Speaker. Is there a problem that these areas we cannot construct towers when we have seen a number of constituencies, towers being completed, started and being completed? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Science, of Technology and Science.
Mr. Speaker, we have always indicated to this House that one of the biggest constraints that we've got is a fiscal space to implement the construction of Towers, the Honourable Member of Parliament for Nyimba, has been frequently in the office and has engaged my permanent secretary on the towers in his constituency. So I just trust that you also save the results of those engagements. I thank you.
The Honourable Member for Chama South.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker, and thank you, Honourable Minister, for your responses. Honourable Speaker, these towers are becoming so important, not only in Milanzi, but in almost all the rural constituencies, because as a nation, right now people can't buy
You are debating. May you ask a question?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to lay the background of the importance of these towers, especially in Milanzi and the Chama South. Honourable Minister, government has introduced so many e-programs. For example, our people cannot buy relief or maize from FRA without using a phone. We have many of the areas, for example, Chipala ward in my constituency, just like Milanzi, Lumezi ward, where there is no communication. We are aware that you sent engineers on the ground to check on those underserved areas. When do you think the government will be able to attend to these areas, not only in Milanzi, but also in Chama South? Are we likely to have that this year, next year, so that we inform our people accordingly? I submit, Honourable Speaker.
The Honourable Minister of Technology and Science.
Mr. Speaker, I think in all fairness, what we shall do is, we have many places, and with the fiscal space that we have got currently, we are going to plant 80 towers, and we are going to share with members of Parliament the specific places where those 80 towers are going to be planted. I thank you.
Thank you. Just like I said, the question was specific. Next question, the Honourable Member for Dudumwezi.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Compliments of the season to you and the entire House. Question number 163. Thank you.
The Honourable Minister of Education.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Singombe of Dudumwezi asks the Minister of Education, A, when the following community schools in Dudumwezi parliamentary constituency will be upgraded to government schools: 1 Nakalome, Humbe, Kateni, Hambwega, Chipondo, and 6 Kabombo, and B will be to secondary schools: Mikata, We answer as the following community schools in Dudumwezi parliamentary constituency have been upgraded: Katini, Hambwega, Chipondo, and Kabombo. This upgrade is in accordance with Section 35 of the Education Act 93 of 2011, as published in the Zambia Government Gazette Notice number 1055, dated 27th September 2024. And B, the government has successfully upgraded Mikata and Sichiveya primary schools to secondary school status with a new program set to commence with the enrollment of Form 1 learners in 2020. However, Munyeke was not recommended for an upgrade to It is worth noting that Munyeke is conveniently located between and providing accessible options to local learners. Mr. Speaker, I thank you.
Supplementary question. The Honorable Member for Dudumwenzi. If none, we make progress. The Honorable Member for Isoka.
Mr.
You take time.
I have a supplementary question.
You take time, Honorable Member. Go on. You can
The Honorable Minister for in these particular questions. However, that Muneke was not because of lack of infrastructure. These two schools that in situation where we do not have a boarding facility to protect all close to these two schools. Speaker for giving me this opportunity to ask an extra question.
The Honorable Minister of Education.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. There is a program which we're embarking on where if the distances are quite long and then there's a girl child, we are putting up boarding facilities for those kids. But for this particular one, I think we need to check again. Thank you.
The Honorable Member from Mbabala.
Thank you so much, Mr. Speaker, and thank you so much, Honorable Minister of Education, for your responses to the question from Mwezi. Dundumwezi is our neighbor in Mbabala constituency. And today, we are receiving a handover for the preschool, which I have been lobbying from your ministry in Mangunza. So, job well done. The issue of the schools going to secondary school, we have a situation in Mbabala, just like in Dundumwezi, where a former secondary school, Chirantambo Secondary School, and others best to grade 8 when they have been running for grade 8. I wanted the Honorable Minister to clarify, because this seems to be also the problem in Dundumwezi, to clarify on these reversals of some schools from progressing, which have been running as secondary schools. And this year we have ended up with a bit of a crisis for our children to get into some boarding secondary school spaces in some of our areas in Dundumwezi and Mbabala, which is in the neighborhood. Thank you, Honorable Minister.
The Honorable Minister of Education.
Although that is a new, there's a second. Thank you.
The Honorable Member for Shuangandu.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, from the Honorable MP for Mwezi and my colleague was just to just find out from the Honorable Minister, is it possible that he can come to this August House and update us which are those of us from the rural areas, the schools have been down. In confusion, is it through you?
Honorable Minister of Education, maybe make.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, for the opportunity. Since the Minister said he's going to come back to the House to give a ministerial statement, I will not ask my question, Mr. Speaker, because it relates to the same situation of the children, the new curriculum, and the children who have been displaced, in the sense that nearly the secondary schools have been revoked the right to provide for grade 8 and grade 9, leaving maybe one school, the whole chiefdom, so which may be a crisis. So since the Minister will come to the House, I will withdraw my question, Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Okay. Next question, the Honorable Member for Isoka.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, let me congratulate the new members of Parliament and also welcome them to this. My question is number. I thank.
The Minister of Health.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Madam Nagaponda, Member of Parliament for Isoka, would like to find out from the Minister of Health whether the government has any plans to construct additional staff houses at Isoka District Hospital in Isoka District. In B, if so, when the plans will be implemented. In C, what the estimated cost of the project is. And D, if there are no such plans, why? Mr. Speaker, it is the desire of this government to construct staff houses at the Isoka District Hospital. However, due to limitation of the fiscal space, these plans are not immediate. In B, Mr. Speaker, plans will be implemented when funds are made available. In C, Mr. Speaker, the estimated cost will be determined at the time of implementation. In the D, government has plans, therefore D falls off. I thank you.
The Honorable Member for Isoka.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, considering the shortage of staff accommodation at Isoka District Hospital, when are the funds going to be available? Honorable Minister, I thank you.
The Honorable Minister of Health.
Government has got priorities. And at the moment, you know the priority of the government, staff, houses is a secondary issue, and it's catered for. I mean, housing, they have 20%. Mr. Speaker, I said, councils came. If we wait for the pocket from Minister of Finance, priorities of finance are many, and even us, we still have a long list to complete certain projects, to buy equipment, and also to buy medicines. All these are serious priorities. So where they are already being compensated, I think that for the time being, they are comfortable. And the new infrastructure which is coming, if there is a hospital, that comes especially with a project is coming with housing, but at the moment there are no funds for such. Thank you.
The Honorable Member for Isoka.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Honorable Minister, in your response, it has priorities. Does it mean Isoka is not a priority? Because Isoka is one of the constituencies in Zambia. And to make matters worse, my people in Isoka, they just rent a district hospital. So you are telling me that Isoka is not it's not a submit, Mr. Speaker.
The Honorable Minister of Health.
Mr. Speaker, I said priorities of the government in terms of funding, not Isoka as such. housing housing is a countrywide issue. When funds are, it doesn't discriminate. It is to be included when funds are available. I thank you.
The honourable member for Chipiri.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On the that we are talking about in soccer, the previous government had a program of constructing houses. They started with the police, Zambia Army, and we want you to do the same. Do you have any plan on your table? Because the money will be available to divert other programs competing needs. Thank you.
The Honourable Minister of Health.
Mr. Speaker, the priority of the Minister of Health at the moment is to finish the infrastructure that was left by MMD, and the PF didn't even consider it. This time we want to finish all that infrastructure, which is everywhere. That's building of the hospital. Between the hospital and the house, which one is a priority? To me, the priority will be the hospital. And we have got an opportunity. This government has done very well to give you to the extent of 36 million CDF money, which has never happened. Within that 36 million, if I were you, we could use initiative and build some flats, 2 million, 3 million. You can assign it and you can accommodate the staff there. But at the moment, the nurses, doctors are comfortable. They are getting 20% of their gross salary. So it's not an issue at the moment at all. The priority is let's build hospitals first. These will come later. Thank you.
Next question, the Honourable Member for Pemba.
Mr. Speaker, let me take this opportunity to congratulate the honourable members who have joined this honourable house. Mr. Speaker, question 165.
The Honourable Minister of Water Development and Sanitation.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Let me also join all the members here in congratulating the new members in the House. Let me also join all members here in congratulating the UPND government for the effective fight against corruption, as shown by the Corruption Perception Index, which has clearly showed that this government is serious against corruption. Assessors have shown that efforts by the UPND government are working. Madam Speaker, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Hamwata, Member of Parliament for Pemba constituency, asked the Minister of Education whether the government has any plans following dams in Pemba Parliamentary constituency. One, Hakwanga in Hamaundu Ward, Munene in Hamaundu Ward, and Likwele in Pemba Ward. So when the plans will be implemented. Response, Mr. Speaker, to the questions the government has plans to rehabilitate small dams across the country to ensure the availability of water resources for socio-economic development. These plans include the rehabilitation of the 4 named dams in Pemba Parliamentary constituency. B, government through my ministry is currently conducting a comprehensive assessment of all water harvesting infrastructure in the country. This assessment will determine the necessary interventions and associated cost implications to restore full functionality. The implementation timeline for the rehabilitation of the listed dams will be determined upon completion of this process and once the fiscal space improves. However, Madam Speaker, as part of the ongoing efforts The ministry has prioritized the rehabilitation of Ulanda Dam in Nachibanga ward of Pemba constituent, and this is scheduled for rehabilitation in the 2025 fiscal year. Additionally, Pemba district will undergo maintenance works as part of the drought response plan. C, the estimated cost of the project will only be determined after conducting detailed feasibility studies and engineering designs. Mr. Speaker, I thank you.
The Honorable Member for Pemba.
I want to thank you, Honorable Minister, for the assurance to the good people of Pemba constituency that these dams will be rehabilitated.
The point of order against who?
Mr. who was on the floor of the House responding to the question. Mr. Speaker,
That
it
has
is
been
the one,
committed.
Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the minister knows that these independent assessors not too long ago assessed the Republican president of Zambia as the best president in Africa. He assessed the Minister of Finance in Zambia as the best Minister of Finance in Africa. Is he in order to bring these assessments to start talking about corruption when he knows that FIC has reported $3.1 billion living out of the country? Is a minister in order to claim that corruption in this country is reducing and bringing it on the floor of the House when he knows ministers in the UPND have been cited of being corrupt and his government has refused to actually publish their names? I seek a serious ruling, Mr. Speaker. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Honorable Member, I think one thing that we should all know is that when a minister makes a statement on the floor of the House, he talks from a verified and government point of view. So for you to go further and make assertions against corruption, things that you can't substantiate, things that you don't know about, I think let's avoid to do that. Let's avoid misleading the public. Honorable Member, let's avoid misleading the public. Honorable Member, I've guided. Let's avoid making assertions just to please ourselves. The minister is talking from a government point of view, and as such we should all respect. Because whatever he said on the floor of the House, that's government position and government assurance. May the Honorable Member continue.
Mr. Speaker, before I was interrupted, I indicated my appreciation to the Honorable Minister for the assurance given to the good people of Pemba that these dams will be rehabilitated. But the only worry, Honorable Minister, is where the time frame is not clearly stated for the good people of Pemba. Especially when we talk of Hakwangara Dam in Hamaundu Ward. This is the dam that has been feeding Pemba Secondary School. The Kwere Dam, that where the whole town, Pemba town, depends on. Now, in a situation where there's no clear assurance as to when these dams will be rehabilitated, could you assure the good people of Pemba if there are other measures that can be taken so that we don't end up having a situation that we already have where the districts do not have water because of this dam that do not harvest enough water?
The Honorable Minister of Water Development and Sanitation.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Let me state and restate again that indeed numbers don't lie. We all quote Transparent International when it suits us. And clearly, very clearly, Transparency International has stated that the CPI has improved, meaning there is effective fight against corruption. It's as simple as that. It is as simple as that. So let's accept facts. Mr. Speaker, the Honorable Member of Parliament for Pemba, let me assure the Honorable Member of Parliament for Pemba that indeed we have come up with several interventions in Pemba. I think working with yourselves, sir, with yourself, Honorable Member, we drilled that commercial borehole as an interim measure. We are looking at rehabilitating that dam, and we will be sending a team to your constituents to work with yourself to ensure that we do that assessment and bring on board the various interventions to ensure that we rehabilitate that dam and give it life. So be assured that this government will not neglect the people of Pemba. Mr. Speaker, I thank you.
The Honorable Member from Mwembeshi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and to the new members of Parliament who has just been ushered into this House. Mr. Speaker, I want to ask the Minister if he is going to be kind enough to give us the list of the dams which are supposed to be rehabilitated in a short possible time, as the one dam in Mwembeshi, like Mashiri Dam, where he knows and the water is running out. Is he going to be kind enough to give us the list of the dams to be done? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The question is quite specific. The question is quite specific. It doesn't talk about Mwembeshi. Next, the Honorable Member from Babala.
Yeah, thank you so much, Mr. Speaker, and thank you so much, Honorable Minister, for that answer to the question. Pemba is one of my neighboring constituencies in Babala. Honorable Minister, thank you for your ministry coming on board recently to do dam maintenance around the various constituencies, including one of the dams we share with the people of Pemba, one of our key rivers, I think Mutama River. I'm just asking from your engineering, being an able engineer, on the timeliness of dam maintenance in the midst of the rain season, when we could have wanted to harvest this water effectively. What is your comment on your ministry doing dam maintenance in the midst of the rain season when we want to harvest the water in Pemba and in Mbabara? Thank you, Honorable Minister.
The Honorable Minister of Water Development and Sanitation.
Thank you very much, and I want to agree with you that I'm a very senior engineer in this profession. Very, very senior engineer. And as a senior engineer, I will respond as follows. Maintenance of dams can be done at any time. Actually, there are certain maintenance works right now, some are preventative maintenance, but your dam way, you can surely do maintenance works, particularly on spillways. We've been doing that a lot. Further, some of these works have continued from before the rain season started. So we are okay doing these maintenance works even as the rain season goes. Right now, I'll tell you that climate change, and some of those dams were with low capacity on the spillways, so they are not able to discharge this increased flooding. What is happening right now is that only some of the dams, we are obviously opening up the spillways to ensure that we route the flood away, and because most of these are earth dams, then we are able to protect them. So any time is a good time to maintain dams. Madam Speaker, I thank you.
The Honorable Member for Pemba.
Thank you.